one at a time, or singularly, rather than wholesale data matches.
You've got to clarify that.
Well, let me just ask. Let me state the concern let me state the concern that's been told to me, and I'll ask the question. You can correct it however you want. But here in Franklin County, the election board officials have told me directly that they're concerned that they can't properly match entire databases versus other databases, thereby rendering it ineffective effectively. And they're concerned that they're not going to catch everybody that they could catch otherwise. Is that concern misplaced?
You're sadly misinformed, because they don't match whole databases. They put a name in of a newly registered voter. They get a message back from our database that tells them all the names of the people in the state of Ohio that are similar to this. It is their job to then take those names one by one and match them, looking at birth date, looking at address.
That's the point, ma'am. They're saying that they would like to have the ability to match large numbers of registrants rather than do it singularly, which is the entire point of their contention that this is an ineffective system as you currently have it structured.
Well, in Franklin County, they first got to learn not to enter in dupe names in their active database and leave them in there, and they also have to learn to leave out 15 and 16-year-olds out of their database. Until they can clear up those kinds of problems, I think trying to move on to these supersized methods of comparison are going to probably trip them up even more.
So their concern is misplaced, in your opinion?
They're misinforming you, and their concern is misplaced, yes.
When do the absentee ballots get counted on election day? And with the volume of them, are there concerns about how fast they can do that? Or is the process changing?
With the absentee ballots, it's going to depend upon the particular county system. Unfortunately, with the predominance of the Diebold or the Premier system, there is no availability of a high-speed optical scanner. So in the counties using the Diebold systems, and the two largest being Lucas and Montgomery, they have to have massive numbers of the desktop scanners, and they have to have massive numbers of people to match those scanners to scan those one at a time. Now with 5 statewide issues on the ballot plus any local issues, that extends the size of the ballot to sometimes 2 and 3 pieces of paper depending upon the individual precinct. In that situation, they should have checked the eligibility, opened, literally flattened the ballots so that they'll run through more smoothly, and have most of those scanned except those that come in on election day by the time we get to 7:30 at the closing of the polls. It's at that point in time then that they can perform the tabulation process, which is a separate process. So the ones that come in on election day, those they'll be scanning during the day. One of the vagaries of the Diebold system is that you have your scanners, and you have sometimes you have towers depending upon the county where you're uploading 2 types of results. You're uploading the electronic results from memory cards, and you're uploading the scanned results. Unfortunately, you cannot scan and feed that information directly into the server at the same time that you are uploading the electronic results. So as a result, the counties that do not have the access to the high-speed scanners, and some of those will be ES&S counties who don't have the resources to have what's called an M650, which is the high-speed scanner that does multiple sheets one after another. We may see, because of the backup paper ballots, which are there as like just in case, we may see that it takes a little bit longer because that would be the 3rd step. What you'll see with the tabulation of the votes, you'll see first the absentee results, because the county boards are even at this time permitted to process but not tabulate absentee ballots. Then as the memory cards start to come in from either the touchscreen machines or from the precinct-based scanners, those memory cards will be uploaded, and you'll start to see the electronic results coming in from the election day voting. And last, then you'll see any backup paper ballots where people voted on paper. They'll be scanned, and that's where you see a bit of a delay. And then from the scanning, they'll either upload from a zip drive if it's an M650, or from a memory card if it's one of the other types of scanners. And then the board at that time will be able to give us their unofficial results. We're also going to be having them tell us, as I said before, the numbers of outstanding ballots at the same time.
Madam Secretary, the New York Times had a little brief today saying the Department of Justice is not going to require you to disclose the names of voters where the registration application didn't match these government databases. What do you know about that?
There have been ongoing discussions. We work routinely with the Department of Justice. We work with them throughout the year. We've received a number of inquiries from them even throughout the month of October. When the request went from Representative Boehner and others in Congress to the President, asking the President to ask the Justice Department to make the inquiry, we were already in the process of having discussions with the Justice Department. They asked us to work with the boards to ensure that they understood that they have to remove the names of people who have died in duplicates. We issued a directive last Friday, very responsive to what they've asked for. It's our understanding that they've undertaken discussions with a number of people who know about the history of the database, and it's our understanding that this will still be the inquiry will still progress, but any litigation to try to move us to do what the Ohio GOP wants us to do is not planned. And as long as we continue to cooperate, which we plan to do because we're simply trying to follow the law and administer the Help America Vote Act, I don't see that we're going to see any litigation.
Any requirement is not going to be planned by Justice, the Department of Justice? Is that
any requirement?
Any requirement to disclose these names? You're saying as long as you continue, your understanding is as long as you continue to cooperate with their inquiry, they're not going to require you through litigation to disclose these names?
That's our clear understanding, and we will endeavor to do what we have to do to make this database a lot more useful to the boards of elections.
One more question.
How much did it
There's
cost?
wind that's been right back here for a while. We'll do two. How's that?
Can you give us, look ahead in your crystal ball, give us a time frame of what time do you think, you did a nice job of outlining how things will come in. Do you have any kind of time frame of when people can expect? Should they go to bed and get up the next morning? What are you thinking we'll see here in Ohio and across the nation?
That's a tough one.
A lot of variables.
People have said to me, do we think that we'll have all the final results in on Election Day? That would be by midnight. Probably not. A lot of counties will have reported by then, but invariably, depending upon turnout and individual situations, one or another may straggle in after midnight. I think, will we have a good sense of what the overall results are in Ohio by midnight? I think we will. Bill, do you have another question?
Yes, you said to John that you didn't know how much it would cost to rebuild the database. Did you say how much it cost in the first place to construct this database that you now find ineffective?
We need to try to research that, and in all honesty, some of the documents that we would expect them to be able to find that would help us understand how this was constructed and from a management perspective what went into it have not all been available. We're not sure. We only have what we inherited when we came in. We don't know what may have happened to them.
Can you say anything about